Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today, I'm going to kind of stick on this topic a little bit of strength being strength. And I want to talk a little bit about doing some of the more difficult lifts, awkward lifts, harder versions of lifts, in the pursuit of building strength. And I think the thing that a lot of people forget with this stuff is like that the hypertrophy potential is much higher. Because some of these exercises are more difficult, we end up loading less weight. Right? We load less weight. I mean, in other words, you see me doing incline bench there, right? Pausing most of the reps. I mean, it's only 225 pounds. For benching, that's not really a lot of weight for me. But again, doing 9 reps on it on the set here, I've got no wrist wraps. We're pausing everything. This is just more difficult. There's just more difficult. Of course, I threw some curls in here because, curls for the girls, bro. But no, when we think about a lot of this stuff, pause squats, deficit deadlifts using the stiff bar, all these different things, these are all harder versions of these lifts. Pausing on all your benching, pause incline bench. These are just hard variations. I mean, we could take that another direction, and even talk about crazier stuff like Zercher lifts, front squats. I mean, front squats are another great example. Something I hope to be able to implement again as my shoulder health improves. But putting yourself into some of these really awkward angles, these difficult angles, it builds brute strength. Because the thing is, when we're doing powerlifting, oftentimes, and this is stuff that's come up in podcasts and things I've done, what are we doing? We're chasing the most biomechanically advantageous version of the lifts, right? So that we can move the most weight possible. And obviously it doesn't make sense to always train that way. I mean, it makes sense to max that way for competition. It really does. Yet, when we see all these guys doing this and we see people who don't do that and they still break world records, and that's what's really impressive. Perfect example. I'll give you 2 examples of people I can think of. All right, Big KK, all right? Of course, he's now dead now. Rest in peace, bro. He used to deadlift without a belt. Deadlifted over 900 pounds without a belt. Nothing crazy. Came in just mixed grip, conventional deadlift, no sumos, chasing no real advantages. He just came in and did it. The guy close grip benched like 500 pounds. I'm not saying we should all be close gripping, but just putting that in perspective. That guy was just a beast. He was just all around crazy strong. All right, take current world record holder on the raw bench, Julius Maddox. He has very little arch. Guy's hands are inside the ring. He's not outside the rings out there either with the pinkies or any of that. He takes a nice moderate grip. Okay, guy takes a nice moderate grip. Very, very little arch. Just benches well into the 700s. Who knows? I don't want to give a number because by the time this video comes out in a few weeks, who knows where the heck he's going to be. He might come in and broke another record by then. I'm not even sure where he's at now. I know I saw the 770. But do you see where we're going with this? Those guys are just strong. Okay? And it's one thing for us to come in and have a really low bar squat with knee sleeves, taking it wide. Okay? But then you'll see some guy front squat 500 pounds. Front squat 500 pounds, well below parallel, like a full squat with no belt and no wraps, no sleeves. Do people understand how strong that is? I mean, do people really understand that? People who think a 500-pound squat is impressive. Do you know how freaky that is in comparison? To just come in and front squat that type of weight raw, without a belt, and to just rack it and squat it and drop it ass to grass. Like, do people, I don't think people always really, until they've gotten under some heavy weight, I don't think they understand how strong that is. See guys out there incline benching 405 plus. incline benching 500 pounds. My God. With a pause or something. Again, do people understand? Do they even comprehend? I don't think people always do. Or like I've even seen that, watched Burley Hawk one time do like an 800-pound beltless deficit deadlift. Like, my God. That's not the same. That's not like coming in and doing an 800-pound sumo with your belt. You know what I mean, guys? That's a different level, because he did it on like a 3 or 4 inch deficit, standing up on a block. That's crazy. But when you look at some of those things and go, okay, but what about when we're talking about just building muscle? Some of these more awkward variations, we have longer ranges of motion. We're forced to use some lighter weights. We get put in these positions where you have more mechanical tension at lengthened positions. All right, this is where we can do some serious muscle building. Okay? This is where you build serious muscle, like just straight, dense myofibrillar growth. All right? I mean, people like to use that term power building, right? They like to use that term power building. What about using some of those lifts? They don't even have to be for low reps. Front squats, deficit deadlifts, paused incline benches. Right? It's one reason, again, I'm doing these beltless deficit deadlifts here. Muscle building. And it carries over to your deadlift. Like, does anyone not realize if you go to a competition bar and a belt and, pull off the floor, it carries over. It carries over really well. Okay? Get your rep maxes strong on stuff like this. You will be thick and strong as hell. Okay? You'll be super strong. But yeah, some of just these awkward movements, I'm trying to drift back in the direction of this because I'm trying to reach that next level, that next tier. Okay? I'm trying to get there. And the thing comes, am I chasing just to have the best strength because I can find leverages? Or do I just want to be undeniably strong? Do I want to, as I'm approaching 50, be one of the strongest 50-year-old men to have ever walked the planet? Maybe that's what I want. Undeniably, and not just at meat, legal, squat, bench, deadlift. Let's get strong at other stuff. Just be all around strong. Be an all around jack strong athlete. That's the way, brothers.